MRW, up or down, balls up, balls down, POD.
Which side is the sun, man? Are we serving? Wait, which way is that?
Spin the Racket.
Welcome back to Spin the Racket, the recreational tennis pod, covering everything from the Pro Tour to the everyday league player. I'm your boy G.
And I'm Lou.
Today, we have Giulio Gallarotti joining us on the pod. He's not only a super funny comedian, but he's also really big into tennis. Giulio, welcome to the pod.
What's up, boys? Good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, so we're gonna hit you, Giulio, with our number one question we hit every single guest with, which is, would you rather have no serve or no forehand?
No serve all day.
Yes. Why is that?
Because, like, just practically speaking, like, as I get older, my body's so fucked up that, like, I can't, like, play at all anyway. So, like, if I were to be able to play, like, if I, like, the idea that I'm going to get to a place where I'm, like, serving regularly feels like it's not even possible. So I might as well have a forehand so I can, like, play ground stroke games and hit around, because at some point something's going to start hurting again and I'm going to have to take another 6 months off. So that's why I'm not even thinking about in the terms of, like, competitive tennis, but that's also ultimately what my game is like anyway. My serve is, like, not my forehand is probably my best shot. So, like, I'm used to that anyway. So that's the long answer.
No, that's good, man. So I think so far we're split. We got a big camp for no forehand. Everyone wants to just be a serve bot. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool, but that's like, I mean, that's like, I don't know how realistic that is, right? So I'm kind of in the same camp. I'd rather have no serve. I'd rather grind out these points and, get somewhere and fight for my points. But yeah, it's been interesting so far to see some people in the camp.
Nice.
I know, as you talked about your game, you played tennis in college. I saw at Boston. Like, as you kind of think about your own game and kind of how it's evolved and changed, like, how do you describe that?
Well, it's interesting. So in high school, I used to play with, like, an oversized racket for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, Andre Agassi used one at the time. So, to give you guys an idea of how old I am. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm going to use an oversized racket. So I used this, like, big TI Radical that was like 107 inches or something. And, I was good in high school, didn't exactly play in the most competitive conference, but, I was pretty good junior. I mostly only played regionally in New England. Like, I grew up in central Connecticut. And, at some point I switched to, like, a mid plus, or like a like a 98 or 100. And at first it was, like, tough. Like, my backhand potentially never recovered. I used to have, like, a pretty good backhand in high school. And then when I switched to the smaller head, like, my backhand was no longer this, like, aggressive shot that it used to be. And played in college. I was sort of, like, went in and out of carrying while I was playing in college. Like, there's definitely stretches where I was, like, probably not in as good a shape as I should have been. And then, like, by senior year, I got in pretty good shape and I played obviously the best that I played. And then, fast forward a decade later, I was probably playing the best I'd ever played. I kind of became more of, like, a grinder. Whereas before I liked, like, hitting big shots and, like, whatever. And I kind of just embraced the idea of, like, trying to be really good competitor. And then, from there, I haven't played much. Probably the past, like, 6-7 years, I just haven't played much. I've either been hurt or too busy or, like, whatever. So that's sort of the evolution of the game.
Fair enough. Well, I know I hit you up on IG one day because I actually ran into you first through your podcast, the Oops the podcast that you did with Ryan. Just super funny. Like, I loved it. I actually looked forward to getting new episodes. It was just something I would have on in the background, walking or doing work and stuff. So I was pretty bummed when you guys had to end that.
I know. Me too, dude. Me too. I hope to be back potting at some point in the future. But yeah, taking a little break for now. Shout out to Ryan. He's the man. But I'm glad you enjoyed it while it lasted, man.
Yeah. No, it was super cool. Like, what's kind of on your radar right now? Like, what are you focused on? What are you doing?
I make these travel videos that are, like, pretty polished. They're kind of like docu-style. It's like multi-format sort of. I guess calling it like a docu-style vlog is sort of appropriate, although I don't think it quite captures what it is. But anyway, they're like pretty solid, like cinema quality videos. I've been putting them out once a month. They've been doing pretty good, but I'm trying to really ramp that up and get those to rip. So I was actually deep in an edit before I hopped on here with you guys.
Nice.
And I've been trying to crank out one a month, which has been challenging, but so far so good. I've been enjoying doing those, still touring, doing stand up. And those have been my like 2 main focuses right now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I saw you post a lot about the U.S. Open the last couple of weeks. So you still follow the game pretty closely?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, it's fun because it's like an easy thing to follow because you can watch without like fully paying attention, if that makes sense. Like it's one of those things you can kind of just check in periodically. I actually follow the entire tour calendar like very closely.
Okay.
And just because a lot of time I'm at home, like working on videos, whatever, I just throw it on and like whatever tournament's happening. And I'm just kind of like OCD about like following it. So I've followed the tour very, very closely. I keep a list of every person who's won every tournament.
No way.
I've been doing it for like 6 years because it can be like, it can be a hard thing to find. Not that it even matters, but I'm like, who won Stockholm in 2022? Not that like that matters at all, but like I'm that on top of it. So like
you're that guy.
I'm very, very on top of what's happening in the tennis world at all times. And I'm deep on tennis Twitter too. Like I'm always combing through that to see whatever the drama is.
What do you think of the drama at the U.S. Open?
What specific thing?
Let's see. Taylor Townsend, Alcaraz's haircut. I mean, the list goes on. So it feels like every U.S. Open there's something, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully, I wish every tournament there was something, and there probably is, but it's nice when it gets the proper attention. I mean, Medvedev, the meltdown.
Oh,
was
yes.
Pretty solid.
That was crazy.
Pretty solid meltdown. I mean, guy's having a tough year. And I always think about that. I'm like, man, it's got to be so hard where like your entire value as an individual is like pegged to your ranking, where like you go from being on center court and like tennis TV and the tour always want to interview from you. Like everybody's following up on your gossip. Everybody cares about your shit. And then like, if you're not in the top 10 anymore, it's like, it's not a thing anymore. So like, it's got to be hard for these guys. And you can tell when people start caring a little too much about like the extracurricular stuff. And like, you see these guys thinking that they like deserve more or something. It's just like the wrong way to approach it. So I always like admire the Rafa way where it's like, you knew there was like 10 guys in between you and talking to Rafa for real. He was so well insulated and like managed to like be this sort of like great ambassador and this great celebrity while like not falling for it all at the same time. So I think about Carlitos a little bit because like his post, first of all, Netflix documentary about Carlitos, highly recommend for anybody listening. Like, and now it's sort of like more obvious some of the things from that, especially because he's been posting photos of himself fucking tuned up, hanging out with Jimmy Balvin, like hammered. Dude, legend. I've never seen a guy publicly celebrate winning a Grand Slam like this. Mostly because I think it would put pressure on you because like, God forbid one thing goes wrong. Everybody's gonna be like, he's not serious. He doesn't this, he doesn't that. But in that documentary, it showed he's like, dude, like I sort of am fine like winning 5 Grand Slams and like having balance and like being able to have fun. And like, I like going to Ibiza and like partying occasionally. And like, I want to do that stuff. And you kind of like watch that and you kind of start hating his team. They're like, well, if he doesn't want to be the greatest player who's ever lived, we're like not interested. It's like, okay, like that seems kind of shitty. So like, I have really enjoyed watching him in the aftermath of that victory. His like photo dumps are fucking legendary. Like the guy like really speaks to the generation. He like doesn't give, he like kind of doesn't give a fuck. And like, maybe it's just because he's like innocent. There's like something going on that I can't quite put my finger on.
But he's just like a teenager. Like people forget, like the dude's great winning like Grand Slams, but he's just 22 years old, man. When I was 22 years old, I was being dumb as hell. You know what I mean? So it's like,
but these guys are good at like being really focused, you know what I mean? And maybe he's just so talented that he can like, I mean, look, anybody in the top 50, you have to figure most of them are training really hard. They're like probably eating well. They're all like into recovery these days. If you can afford it, you bring that whole team with you and all that stuff. So it's like, you got to think he's training as hard as all those guys, but he's clearly not training the hardest. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like he's taking these like week long, you know, I've earned getting to party. Now my team can't tell me. So like, I don't know. Like I wonder how that all ends for him and like what ends up
He's
happening. Like he seems, you know, maybe he'll get injured or something. Like you just don't know. So to
well,
me,
you
it
just saw
seems like
it.
he's figured it out for now, but we'll see. What were you saying?
No, I mean, you saw it. I think it was like back in 23, right? Where the guy like really just climbed up and then like he like was on the scene. He had won a US Open and it feels like with that fame comes all this pressure and now every tournament wants you. And so you're playing like almost every tournament. And at some point I remember hearing somebody on the tennis channel saying like at this moment, Carlos's biggest challenge or biggest opponent is an injury. And it happens with a lot of these kids. You think the generation before Carlos and Sinner, like you think Zverev, Medvedev, Rublev, like they're all playing like every single tournament. And so like you put a young body through that, they're going to get injured, period.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think he's kind of taking that the Italian approach, right? Where it's like with food, it's like less is more.
Is that his
Djokovic is
thing?
doing it.
With food, with what? He's like, you know, I thought Carlos was known for like eating the most.
No, but I'm
It's
saying
not
like you
literal
know like
food, like a
Italian
metaphor.
cuisine is like known for like simple ingredients, right? Like where like
Right.
less is more, and so like you see now Djokovic kind of taking that approach where like the dude's like, well, I'm not going to play every single tournament. I'm going to start hitting just Grand Slams. But the dude went to the semifinals, so it's like you can do that. You don't have to play every single tournament every single week
Right.
to protect points.
Well, Carlos and Sinner, neither of them played Canada, so like that was a good
Mm-hmm.
scheduling move.
Yeah.
And Djokovic, I mean, he's just old. You know what I mean? He can't play
Yeah,
every week.
he
But
doesn't
you
have
know,
a
you saw
choice.
what happened to like Dominic Thiem. To me, is a good example of a guy who literally actually played every week. Like he
Yeah.
played every 250. It was like weird, and then he just sort of started getting hurt, started whatever happened. Like, and then
Yeah.
his career ended early. So I think these guys are like, you know, aware of that. And yeah, it's interesting to see who plays more and who plays less. But you're
Yeah.
right. Like, yeah, Carlos, he's got to stay healthy. And, you know, I would argue that, you know, these party weeks, they become tougher to sort of sustain as you get older. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what ends up happening with all that.
He'll evolve with that. Yeah, he'll evolve with that.
You
Yeah.
think the Ostapenko Taylor Townsend thing? I mean,
Yeah.
Ostapenko has always been sort of like I mean, she was almost having like a rebirth where people were starting to like appreciate her quirks, but then she had to have this like outburst just to remind us all that she just like is a sort of loser and kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yep.
Taylor Townsend's like response was like pretty solid, I thought. Like she definitely like kind of got sassy back, which like to me felt like she like didn't necessarily need to do that, but like good for her for making a good run. Obviously she got to the doubles final too, like
Mm-hmm.
talented player or whatever. We'll see if she ends up like being able to put together some really solid singles results. I know she like had a kid and was able to like come back and play at a top level for her. So, you
Yeah.
know, I don't know. Hopefully she'll do well in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And so obviously you follow it super closely. You got your, your book, you're writing things down, you're tracking it all. So when you think about the tour today, obviously you have, at least on the men's side, you got Alcaraz, Sinner, top two, clearly. Is there anybody else that's going to come up and challenge them, you think? Or is it going to be these two for the next 2-3 years just dominating tennis?
There's just like, it's funny. There's no real way to like be able to say. It's hard to predict right now. It's kind of like hard to imagine a world where these guys aren't playing each other in every Grand Slam final, which would be which I think would be great. Like, you know, people are like, oh, it's like, there's people complaining about it, being like, oh, it's boring. Here we go. Like another,
Yeah.
but like tennis, there's always, for whatever reason in every generation, like there's usually a couple guys who dominate the generation. It's kind of since the open era, like it's pretty much always been like that. There's little pockets where like, there'll be a little bit of a smorgasbord, like in between the next guy's rise or whatever. But, you know, we can't take it for granted. Like right now it's great. Like who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to like break through and start playing amazing? I'd say like if people stood out to me as people who like theoretically have the game to challenge them. I mean, like Rune is a person who like has the game. Like he's hasn't been able to like figure out how to be consistent, whatever's going on with him. Like,
Right.
at a moment, those guys were all like kind of like even Steven, being able to like you could just tell they have the game. Like Sasha,
Yeah.
he sort of like the forehand, for whatever reason, it seems like he struggled with it. I know people say he's like not clutch, but he has like the best career of anybody who's never won a slam, probably. I think you could argue that on the men's side.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, its backhand's like beautiful. It's just
backhand's
so
amazing. He has
solid.
the big serve. And he's the one guy of that group who's like stayed at the top of the game, I don't know, man. No one else really like stands out to me as people who like obviously have the game to like compete with those guys in theory. Besides, I think again, like Arun, I saw him getting into it, sliding in the DMs of Alan Skaya, apparently.
Oh yeah,
which he claims was just like him replying.
Right, yeah. Cultural differences
response.
or something, he said.
Yeah, I love that reply. But yeah, I don't really see any of the Americans really having that like being able to really challenge them thing. I think Shelton to me is the most talented and like could maybe steal one from them at some point, maybe. But the rest of them, I don't see it. And then nobody else is really coming to mind at the moment. I know that guy Fonseca, everybody thinks he's got a big game. He definitely does, but he hasn't shown to me that he's like ready to like really be in the conversation yet. He's kind of like too all over the place, too inconsistent with the results. So we'll see, dude. I always appreciate whatever is going on.
No, the problem is too is like you said, like Fonseca's what, like 18 years old, and so the problem is like these dudes, like especially Carlos, but also Sinner, like they set this precedent for like, okay, if you compare them to now, like if you compare Fonseca to Carlos or Sinner, you're now comparing them at the same age, and at the same age, Carlos was already winning like ATP 500s and all that stuff. So it's like the problem is you're comparing two different people, but it's like you could always have the argument that like, oh well, Carlos at that age already did this and did that, and it's like, okay, well, you're not really plotting trajectory here. You're just comparing like data points at like a given time at a given age, and so you
can't make like projections based on any of that stuff because like it just happens in different ways for different people. Like Djokovic obviously won a bunch of slams after he was 30, which is like a thing that no one had ever really done. And Becker, these like Michael Chang won a slam when he was 17, right? Didn't he win the French Open when he was 17?
Yeah,
and then he never won another one. So you never know. And the thing, I think the thing that's interesting about the rivalry to me is that Sinner is so solid, and like you watch a Sinner match and you're just like, there's no chance this guy's going to have a problem with whoever he's playing. And like, you can't say the same thing with Carlitos. You know what I mean? You don't know if he's going to like kind of turn it off for a couple sets, and like who knows what can happen. Like he obviously had a weird year last year. So, and then it's so interesting to me that once they do play, like Carlos is like razor sharp, like super focused. I think that Sinner winning Wimbledon has kept it super interesting. If he hadn't, like maybe it would just be a little bit less interesting because you'd be able to say like, oh, Carlos just like truly dominated him, and like you can't really say that right now, even though he's taken 2 out of 3 off of him this year. So I look forward to seeing how that all goes. I mean, Sinner seems to be like really solid with his whole way that he approaches it. Like when Carlitos wins, he's like drinking champagne out of the bottle, and when Sinner wins the slam, he's like in bed by 9 o'clock. So it's like
he just
a completely different approach. I'm pumped about this battle of the sexes. Have you guys seen this?
Wait, this is the one like Nick Kyrgios was talking about? Like...
Yeah, Sabalenka and Kyrgios are supposed to play each other in a set.
And what did Nick say that he get like win 6-2 or something like that?
He says with like moderate effort he should be able to win 6-2. Which
that's so Nick Kyrgios.
I'm interested in it. I worry a little bit, and I don't worry a little bit, but I think it would be more interesting if like an actual active tour player were to agree.
That's what I was going to say.
There is something interesting and potentially neutralizing about the fact that he like hasn't played much and he's hurt all the time, and who like, you know what I mean? Like that can make it maybe kind of interesting, but I do also think it would be interesting for just like, fucking Benjamin Bonzi to play Sabalenka, or like, that's not even a good example. Like fucking, some random guy who's like 250 in the world versus Sabalenka. Like see that, like that would be fun.
Right. Yeah. Cause I've heard that argument before. It's like any like top 100 player for the ATP could take on like a top 10 woman for the WTA. And I'm like, well, like what, show me the receipts, let's get this going. Like, let's lock it in.
The famous example is the Serena playing that like this dude who smoked cigarettes on the changeover, and he like kicked her out. I don't even remember that. He beat her like 6-1. He was like basically barely even playing on the tour anymore. There's this like funny thing about that, but they haven't
That's
really
crazy.
done a good one since then. But it will be good. It's good. I mean, dude, whatever happens, it like doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Nick Harris is just such a wild card, man. It's like that guy could literally just serve pancakes and then probably just I don't know, not hit forehands. It's you don't know, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're gonna get with a player that's not active. There's a mental factor there. I think even like when he came back, what was it like? Was it the Australian where he came back into this season? They were talking about how he was nervous, and it's like that plays into how they perform, right? So I guess I mean, I guess it matters and it doesn't at the same time.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like, I think that there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to win that pretty easily. I mean, like, you know, it's the best. It'll be the best serve. Like, there's nobody who serves like that on the women's tour. Like, I can't imagine her being able to break him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even if it serves at like if it's like halfway there, it's still like better than any serve on the women's tour. So like that in and of itself, like I don't see him getting broken. But like, what dude, if she's able to win that, like, good for her, and like that would be crazy. But like, yeah, I that would surprise me. But I hope it happens.
Yeah, it sounds like he's like a marketing genius. So if he has this thing coming up, there's something in Atlanta called the Atlanta Cup that's happening in December where Kyrgios is playing, Osaka, Sabalenka, Shelton. So like he's trying to line it up right now, get some checks. That's what I see.
For sure. Like that's December 6th, and I found there's another exhibition event. I don't know if I forget where it's at. I think it might have been the following day, December 7th. There's another exhibition. I think it's either Charlotte or New York, something like that. So there's going to be a few exhibitions on the off season, and he's recruited a few people. He's recruited Tiafoe. He got Sabalenka. I think Naomi Osaka is coming to Atlanta as well. Like a few people.
Nice.
So,
yeah,
pretty
I mean,
star-studded.
They complain about not having enough time off, and then they all play in the off season. I like don't get it.
I was literally gonna say that. Yeah.
They all play. All of them play during the off season and do like the crazy that like Mumbai tennis thing. They all play that.
Yeah.
The Six Kings Slam. I mean, bro,
That's
look,
coming up. Yeah,
they're getting all this money. I loved the Six Kings Slam.
That thing was cool.
That thing was.
I'm excited for it. Yeah,
I love.
You got Laver Cup too.
Laver Cup, Six Kings Slam. It was really funny to watch them all like be all deferential to the king. They were like, "Oh, His Majesty!" Like, and Alcaraz forgot to do it, and he's like, "Oh, also like His Majesty!" Like, I was like, dude, "This is hilarious."
Yeah. Trying to see them like stick to character. Like, I'm just thinking like these people like sitting in like the script room, just like, okay, like, all right, what are we gonna do with Rune? All right, so he's gonna be a Viking, and then the problem is you've got like what is it, like Sinner and Djokovic, and then you've got like Alcaraz. Like, how do we make him like unique kings, right? Like, how do we differentiate them and all that stuff? I think like Rune had like paint here, and then Zverev was looking like pretty similar. So it's like, okay, what kind of king is he gonna be? I thought that was funny. It was badass, but like you could look at it both ways, right? Like it was like, oh yeah, as a kid I would be like so hype, but then as an adult I'm like, yeah, that's also kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's enough money that they try too. You know what I mean? So it's a cool format.
For sure.
I mean, it's the same thing as like golf taking a bunch of people, like Saudi Arabia taking a bunch of people for golf and just, hey, here's a huge paycheck. Like, why wouldn't you go? You know?
Totally. And it's also weird that tour doesn't only, it's like all over the world. When it first came out, I thought it was just going to be Saudi Arabia, but apparently that tour is like worldwide. That's like interesting. Whatever.
I
Good
didn't
for
know
them.
that. Yeah. How often are you like traveling for tennis? Like, do you go to tournaments at all? Did you go to US Open this year? Were you there?
I don't travel often to go to tennis stuff. I did not go to the US Open this year. And it was actually the first year that I haven't gone in like 25 years or something.
No,
I usually end up going every year. I either go to qualies or like I get invited.
Yeah.
Because I'm like people's tennis friend typically. So people will always invite me. Somebody asked me to go this year. I was just like, I don't fucking feel like going. It's too crowded. And to be honest, like Arthur Ashe, like not to sound like a brat, but like if you're not sitting on the bottom level, it's like unwatchable.
Yeah.
It's like
I understand that.
Worst place to watch tennis in the world. I'd rather watch on my couch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I compare that to like if you go watch like I'm not a big like concert person just because like most of the artists I like are already too famous, and so the venues are like gigantic, and so for you to like same thing if you're not sitting right in front of it, you're like in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
really the same experience. I might as well just be sitting on my couch at home, and I'm going to be
Right.
looking at the ball and the player.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I will say this though, like for a concert, like the vibe does like transcend the area that you're sitting in more so than like watching a
Tennis.
tennis match in the
Yeah.
nosebleeds. Like it's just like not that fun. Like you literally
Yeah.
can't see it. And like with the
Yeah.
concert, at least like you can hear it the same as everybody. And
Right.
he's like, oh, like there is something to be said for that. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, tennis,
It's brutal.
too big of a stadium.
That's why I think the Atlanta Open was like such a hidden gem. You still had like pretty good like players coming, and dude, I found like there was like I don't know why these tickets were not more expensive, but like you could pay like I think it was like $200. You could sit in a shaded area, on like the deuce side. Just you could watch every single deuce return, and like you had shade, you could get drinks, you had a little table in front of you. Like I was just like, this is perfect. Like I could be literally watching like college tennis, and it's like the same distance.
Right. No, that's sick. I've been to like a few tournaments. I used to go to Newport when that was a tour event.
Yeah.
I know it's a challenger now. And then there was a tournament on Long Island for a couple of years, like an indoor tournament that is not there anymore. I went to that. I always say I'm going to go to the DC Open. I never end up going.
Yeah.
But I always like to do this game. I always like to like decide like what is the worst stop on tour, like as far as the city, like what's the worst city that they go to on tour, all things considered, whether it's like like lacks significance and charm, because the places are either usually big cities or like really sick places.
Right.
But
That's true.
and every year, man, Cincinnati is in the conversation for me.
Dude,
Really?
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem, what is Winston-Salem like? I've never been. Is it not great?
Dude, I mean, I
really
just think
small.
it's a very insignificant tournament. It's the 250 that people that aren't going to the US Open go to. It's literally the week before. It's like at the same time as the qualies or like right before the qualies. So you maybe if you lose on the first round of Winston-Salem, you can still make the qualies for the US Open. But I feel like is such a stuck in the middle sort of like the ugly child of the like the US Open run, right? Because you've got Cincy, you got Toronto, Cincy, you got DC, and then all of a sudden you've got this like Winston-Salem tournament, which I've never been, and it's drivable for me, but I feel like it's not even significant enough because every time like for a 250, you really don't have like a lot of big names because everyone's prepared. Anyone worth their salt is already preparing for the US Open.
Well, but so that aside, like agreed, like the only thing though is that you have to have already gotten into the US Open. So it's like a bottom heavy draw. It's like like all people in the top 100, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like everybody else is like trying to get in qualies or is like too good to play. But true, like the top seed usually is not that highly ranked or whatever. But I've never been there, but that's a good question. Like I don't know what it's like. Is it like I love it. Let's throw it right onto the list. Then a couple of these like random China cities, like there's one in India. There's like that Pune tournament. I'm always like, what's that place like?
Right.
But I'm fully willing to accept that Winston-Salem belongs on that list.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
next year, G and I will go and we'll kind of vlog it and give it a little bit of airtime. But honestly, just like I don't know. It's for us. It's like what? Gee, it's like a 3-4 hour drive. Like it's really not terribly
probably 4
far.
hours.
Like we could literally just go for a couple of days. But I'm telling you, I'd rather go to like the Miami Open or I don't know Dallas, which I think it's now like a 500.
Dallas is now 500.
Yeah, it ate up the Atlanta Open. I think that's the Atlanta Open was the sacrificial lamb for it. So
Yeah, I'm looking at the location of Winston-Salem. Oh, it's in Greensboro area. So it's like a kind of pretty area.
Yeah, it's where Wake Forest is, you know.
Yeah.
Shout out to the
It's
Deeks.
like, is there like the mountains up there? I don't know. I got to revisit this. But Dallas I would take over Cincinnati as a city. I like Cincinnati, but I'm just kind of like, it's just random. And I get that there's like a great facility. I get that it's like convenient.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Midwest comes, like the tournament does well. And it's like a great tournament. But it is so funny that if you look at where these 1,000-level tournaments happen, it's like in the world's greatest cities. It's like, or like the
Yeah.
most beautiful destinations, Monte Carlo, like Palm
Yeah.
Springs. The Miami tournament was sexier when they used to do it in Key Biscayne, but like still
Yeah.
Miami, like great city, like, and the Cincinnati, it's like,
Right.
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's random. It feels random,
It is.
honestly.
So like, what's like tennis like for you these days? I know you say you don't play a ton, but like how often do you play? Like what's that like?
I don't really play. I this summer I have like I was having a disc issue like in my neck.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Oof.
guys have gotten there yet, but not fun. And like
Dude.
I would hear it. I'd hear
Yeah.
discs. I'd hear, and like it meant nothing to me. And like I
Mhm.
hope for both of you that it never means anything to you
Yeah.
because it's so unpleasant. So anyway, I started hitting around a little bit at some point this summer. I was feeling better. And then I was feeling all good. And then I started having like new symptoms like on the
Mhm.
other side of my body. And that kind of like freaked me out a little bit. I would
Yeah.
probably start hitting a little bit right now, but like it's kind of tough to play in New York anyway. So like I usually
Yeah.
only play when I go out of town.
Right.
I never play in the city. I used to teach gift lessons when I was like coming up in comedy
Yeah.
to kind of stay alive. But now, yeah, I don't play much.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, like, what is it like for people playing tennis in New York? I just feel like it's always
It's
probably
very
an availability
romanticized.
issue and like not enough courts and probably costs a lot of money, like all that.
Yeah. So you can't. So basically, like, there's private clubs that you can play at. Most of them are like not conveniently located. I mean, I guess it depends where you live. There's definitely like a couple places where if you can like figure it out, you can like line something up or like,
Mhm.
and obviously it's really expensive, but like if you're willing to pay, cool. Like I live in an area where like going to any of those places would be such a pain that like I wouldn't. I have public courts near me that are pretty nice, but
Mhm.
with public courts, like there's a couple annoying things. A, you need a permit, a seasonal permit, which is
Really?
fine, but it's on the hour. So like say you play from 3 to 4, like that's all. You can only play for an hour. Like basically
Mhm.
unless you like finagle something else. Like there are maybe ways to do that, but you also
Yeah.
need to get there early because it's first come, first serve. So like you're
Mhm.
spending twice the time, maybe not twice the time, but you're like spending 35% of the time trying to just make sure you get a court.
Yeah.
And then also playing like all that, it's just like it's too much. I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do it. I know that
Yeah.
there's some people
So
who,
like, no, go ahead.
no, that's it.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. So like, I'm out of state. I go to New York City. Like, am I not allowed to play because I don't have a seasonal pass? Like,
You
how's
can
that work?
you can get a day pass.
Dude, I
There's
have to get a
one
day
store
pass.
that you can buy them from, and I think it's like 15 or $20. But yeah, you might be able to get them online. I'm not sure what the update is with that, but yeah, you wouldn't be able to just show up and play
Wow.
in New York
Like
City.
people, do they actually have people there like checking and stuff like that, or like how does that work?
Yep, they put the
Dude,
check in.
no.
There's
Wow,
the person checking. Yep.
that's serious.
It's the real deal. So yeah, I mean, especially with guys like you who have like normal schedules, like you'd
Mhm.
be trying to play during the worst times and everyone was playing. So you'd have to like,
Yeah.
you'd really have to try really hard. I'm not willing to do that. So I just don't
Yeah.
play.
That's fair.
Yeah, I've heard that Atlanta has a great, my buddy from my team in college, he's like, dude, I'm in this league and like everybody's nasty. He's like, there's such
Yeah.
good players here. It's crazy. And I'm like, oh, cool. Sounds cool.
Very competitive. We basically have a league that like displaces USTA a lot of the time. It's called Alta. It's Atlanta Lawn Tennis Association, and it's like, I mean, it's a whole culture here. Like USTA kind of, I'm pretty sure like, gee, you might be able to speak to this, but I'm pretty sure USTA had to move one of the like game days like in one season because Alta it's like takes precedence over them.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it like anyone that you meet that plays tennis plays Alta, some play USTA. That's kind of how it works.
Interesting.
Not everyone likes it. Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool.
But yeah, it's very competitive. But there's basically like it's all letter based and there's like a double A, which is like open. And then you can find like the most random people there. That's the only thing is like, it's not as clear cut as like USTA where like you've got a ranking, you can only play that or maybe a half level up. Like, no, it's like you can be in like that double A and all of a sudden you find like an ex ATP player. I think there are some regulations to that, but you'll find some random people. I'm pretty sure, you mentioned that like Taylor Townsend's like sister plays Alta,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, yeah, just
Yeah. Crazy.
yeah. It's
That's it.
wild. So you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, but I hear you on the neck issue. I played on Saturday morning, and I literally like show up and I tell my partner, I'm like, hey man, like I've got a nut in my back, kind of like between my shoulder blades. So I may play shit. I don't know. And then I'm like, I start warming up. He's like, how's it feel? I'm like, all right, I don't feel it. And then like second set we're in, and I don't know, maybe a serve or something like that. All of a sudden, I tweaked the left side of my neck, and so I couldn't turn to my left side for like maybe 2 days. And literally, I went to the chiropractor like 2 days before. So regular visits. I'm already on regular visits to the chiropractor. I have a wrist issue. Yeah, I hear you, man.
It's only gonna get worse, dude. That
Yeah.
sounds like child's play to me.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I
Even
work with
worse.
people twice my age and always like, oh man, you're super young. And I'm like, hey, buddy, like we're all moving in the same direction. We're all going the same way. Like, just let me catch up. Give me some time.
Totally.
What are your thoughts on pickleball? Is that something that you've dabbled in at all?
Yeah, I like it. Whatever. I think it's fun to like show up to play something that like you're just automatically better than people at. You know what I mean? It's funny. We played in my high school. Like it was like a gym thing that we played. And
No
you
way.
know, again, I was like obviously the best at it in the school, which was
Yeah.
awesome. And then now it's like fun to be like, so like, what's the rule again? And then like you just are, you like destroy the person. So I find that fun. And also it's like, a little less cumbersome in my opinion than tennis. I know that there's like people are like, oh, well, there's like, it's a crazy workout, which is true, but it's like more contained. Like I find it more approachable. Like if I have issues, like swinging that fucking paddle, like doesn't bother me as much. So I like it. I like to play. Yeah. I don't feel
Nice.
like threatened by it or anything the way that a lot of times people do.
You just feel goated every time you show up. You're like, yeah, I mean business.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
So, Giulio, we've got this section called Quick Hands. It's basically a rapid fire question segment. We're going to hit you with some stuff. You've got, just a moment to answer. So we want to get your thoughts right away. You feel free to kind of expand on it once you give your answer.
Cool.
So we're going to start. We have 7 questions. Number 1, we're going to hit you with the GOAT debate. Who's the GOAT? Roger, Rafa, or Novak?
The GOAT, Novak. Isn't that it? That's all I have to say.
I mean, yeah, unless you want to say like why, but
Oh, I mean, I could say
you
more.
don't
I
have
mean,
to.
like, it's, I think the numbers don't lie. Like, and dude, it's sad the way that these people online are trying to like defend the people that they think are the greatest, being like trying to show compelling statistics. Like there's this entire YouTube channel that my brother loves that's like devoted to like proving that Novak is the GOAT. This whole like weak era theory about Federer, I think it's all fucking bullshit. Like for me, Federer is like my GOAT. You know what I mean? Like he's just like the GOAT, dude. Like, and any tennis person knows what I mean by that. But like, how do you argue that Djokovic isn't the greatest player of all time? Like, I don't think you can. Like, just like, doesn't matter if he was healthier and Rafa wasn't. Like, that's all part of it. Like, being able to play is part of it. So to me, it's hard to make the argument that anybody else is.
Yeah. All right. So number 2, hard court, clay, or grass. Which one are you picking?
Hard true, dude. Option 4, the old person.
No. Really?
Yeah, it's the best. Hard red clay is like great, but like it's just a little slow. Like hard true, it's nice on the body. You can slide around. It's just like feels nice to be out there, and you can like hit the ball through the court still. Like I used to give lessons in the summer, and like I would teach on hard true, and it like made me a way better player. Like playing on clay those couple summers. I know it's not like red clay, but yeah. That's my answer.
No, I'm getting used to it. I've got a club that basically has 5 courts, only 1 hard court, and that's for like mainly lessons. So I'm like, I got no choice. I'm getting there. All right, number 3. Should coaching be allowed during matches at all levels? Yes or no?
No, but like whatever. I like don't feel that strongly about it. I do think there's something like annoying about like I was watching Rabikina play and that like abusive coach of hers just like wouldn't shut up. Like he would not shut up. He like would not stop talking, and like you could hear it, and it was so obnoxious. I'm like, granted, they could turn that off, but I'm like, I don't know. There's something like it's so the whole like you're out there alone thing is so sexy to me that like allowing coaching to me makes it less interesting. I know that they would like coach on the low anyway and like get in trouble. But to me, I prefer it without coaching.
I hear you. Yeah, that's why I got into tennis to begin with. Number 4, is the rise of underarm serves genius as a strategy, or is it disrespectful?
It kind of sucks. Like I get that like it's allowed and like, okay, if you're like doing that and it's working, congratulations. I get why guys are pissed about it at the end of the match. I think if I were playing, my challenge to myself would be not to let it get in my head. Cause I think that it's as much of a tactic to get in someone's head as it is to like, if somebody's standing way back and you sneak one in, like
Right.
you happen to win the point, like whatever. I don't think it needs to be this thing. I do like fully agree with saying you're sorry when the ball trickles over. I think
Yeah.
anybody who plays knows that like that's how it goes and that you
Yeah.
should do that. But yeah, the underarm serve, it's fine.
Yeah, I think of Stefano Tsitsipas didn't he like have like a whole thing at the U.S. Open? Was it the U.S. Open where like he
Yeah,
was like, yeah, if
with
he
Altmaier.
hits if he hits underhand, like that's what you get. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever. I kind of yeah.
I think Kyrgios like ruined him for that.
Oh,
But
the underarm?
that's a yeah, because he would do that a lot then. But that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah,
Let me see.
Bublik does it enough that he like people don't seem to be annoyed at him about it.
Well, you have
Yeah.
to.
like his
You're
thing.
expecting it, right? Like if you're playing Bublik, you know you got to work on your underarm serve return.
Yeah, right.
Because it's gonna come. All right, number 5, biggest pet peeve on court. Is it bad line call, slow play, or something else?
Bad line calls sucks, obviously. It like definitely ruined college tennis for me a little bit. It's just like gets so nasty and you play some guy who's like such a dog. You're like, I know this guy's gonna cheat. Like this is gonna suck.
Mhm.
Like I'd rather just like lose and go home than like have to deal with this. Like so for me, I don't even know if that's a pet peeve. It's just a thing that I fucking hate. Like being
Yeah,
that's a pet
annoying about
peeve.
celebrating and all that shit. Like again, that's a thing that like theoretically you need to learn how to deal with because it's like a tactic. It's obnoxious. Like you know, I don't like it, but it's fine. So I don't know if I have like a proper pet peeve. But yeah, I don't like cheating, obviously.
I was gonna ask, did they play Let's when you played in college? Because I know like
Yes.
they don't do that anymore.
They don't do
Is
that
it?
anymore?
Yeah, they just like, hey, if it hits net, you keep going.
I thought you meant like they reversed it back. Yeah, I mean, I was fine
Oh,
with
no.
that. That was like a fine rule, whatever. Makes it
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, just I guess double clicking on that question. What are your thoughts on grunting?
Again, fine with it. I think it's
Okay.
like, I really don't. I think most of the time it's not a thing that's supposed to be distracting. I get the like doing it a little more in a big moment to try to like assert yourself. I think it's fine. I have no problem with it.
Part of the game.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right,
it helps
so
people grunt when they hit the ball. It's like a thing. So like if you're doing it in a way where you're like still grunting when the other person's hitting the ball, like maybe that's not cool. But like again, I think
yeah,
you should be able to deal with it on the other side of the court.
yeah. If you could steal one shot from any pro, whose would it be?
Man. One shot from any pro, probably just like Federer serve.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah, yeah.
Sick. Like again,
Most
I don't
people want.
care. I don't care about like my functional tennis ability anymore. Like the idea of like being better on the court, like literally does not interest me at all. I'm not interested in it at all. So like to me, it's like what would just be sick to be able like and he's just such a beautiful serve. Like it would just be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's I think that's the most common is either his serve or his forehand. And then lastly, dream doubles partner, past or present.
Federer.
I think we're seeing a little bit of a pattern here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, the guy's like poisoned all of our minds. We all love him.
dude.
Uh,
Yeah,
He's the fucking man. Yeah, dude. I mean, he just seems like a chill hang. Like, it'd just be fun.
yeah, he'd be so sick, dude. I agree with you on that one. Now we move on to we want to ask a little bit more about the comedy career.
Yeah, I guess kind of what got you into doing comedy? Like how do you think about it these days? Like what's the approach there?
Yeah, I just started doing it one day. I like signed up for a show. There are these shows where like anybody can do them as long as people buy tickets. And that's how the audience fills out. So there'll be like 10 comics who bring 5 audience members and now you have a show. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I did one of those. It was fun. I did another one, and then, slowly but surely I went from doing like a show a month to one show a week to two shows a week. And then I was working a normal job during that time. It was right after I graduated college. I was living in New York. So like I probably stayed at that job for like 9 months, and then I left and I started just trying to do comedy full time, which isn't a thing that you can just decide to do. It's one of those weird things where like you need to approach it like it's your job, like for years until you make any money. And even if you start to make some money, it's not enough money to like live on. So you need to kind of like
Yeah.
figure out how that all goes. And yeah, man. So, it's kind of like up and down doing different stuff. Like used to do like some acting and shit. And then, making videos and stuff. So like, I've been around for a couple different waves. Like, podcasting became a big thing. Obviously I had a big podcast for years. I'm now getting into sort of, I guess, the content creation sort of space. But yeah, I've still go on the road a good amount. My fall schedule is kind of light. I'm sort of prioritizing spending time making these videos and sticking on the schedule, see if I can get that off the ground and being like one of my main things at least. But yeah, for now, I'm going to keep touring. I did a special that came out at the beginning of the year. I probably will shoot another one at the end of next year, maybe.
Nice.
And yeah, dude. So it's kind of like, I guess the approach is like, how do you make it sustainable? Because it can be tough. The lifestyle can be tough. There's, people doing huge stuff and like you want to do it too. And it's kind of like unclear specifically how to make that happen for yourself. Whereas like, in a tennis match, if you're better than the guy, you win. It's like more straightforward. You know what I mean? And with comedy, it's like not like that. So it's sort of like the path is unclear. So you sort of have to self-motivate, and it can be kind of like a nasty scene sometimes too. So just like dealing with all that and finding a way to kind of stick with it, even in the periods of time where you don't feel like doing it. You gotta, in my opinion, just like do it just enough that you don't fall off until you kind of like get the hunger to do it again, and then you hit it hard again.
Right. Yeah. I resonate with that. I know Lou and I have been talking about this podcast, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And it's super early days. This is episode 8, so we're, like I said, super early. And I think for me, I'm like, I could see myself doing this. This is like a fun passion for me. Like I hope it could turn to something else more than that. But I'm kind of waiting to see like what is that sign or signal that says like, okay, this actually can be something, or maybe you should just have this as like your after work kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it can. You don't have to decide, you can sort of be consistent with it. I mean, not that you guys are asking for advice, but I think that the key factors are being consistent, you know what I mean? Like making sure you have the episodes every week just so you can like grow. And then I think there's some sort of like school of thought where, 100, and this may no longer be the model. This might be outdated. In my opinion, I would say cut the original number in half. They used to say 100 episodes. Like if you think the show isn't getting anywhere, maybe you like rebrand or start something different. I would say 50 is more of maybe a better number in my opinion. Hit it from all angles, put the video out, fucking, see if you do a Patreon, do all that stuff, and then like, once you're starting to get like $5,000 an episode, you have some patrons, like before you know it, you're suddenly making some money. Like you can make money podcasting, so, Godspeed. I hope it works out for you.
Thank you. That means a lot. No,
appreciate it.
What, I was curious to, figure out like what got you into the docu style vlog, travel vlog, like what kind of brought that about?
I've always kind of been interested in traveling around a lot. Most of my adult life, I didn't travel a ton when I was younger. My parents are Italian, so we would go to Italy and stuff, but like we didn't travel much. But I always thought it was like an interesting thing. And then I, went on a couple of trips when I was like in college, and I sort of set this precedent where I was like, all right, if I have any excuse to go anywhere, I'll do it. So like if somebody invites me, or if someone's like, you can stay with me, or if like, that was sort of like my whole thing. So I ended up traveling quite a bit doing that. And I ended up, long story that I'm not going to get too deep into, but I did this like comedy festival in Africa, and it was a kind of random thing. They sort of came out of nowhere. I messaged these guys back and forth, and we're kind of like chopping it up, and I'm texting with them, and like, it was just way more familiar and accessible than I figured it would be. I didn't really think too deeply about that beforehand, but I'm like, oh, this is like a really familiar experience that's like interesting to me. So, a week or so before I went, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to film it. Like I should try that. So I invited a couple of my friends to come to like film it, help me. We did that. And then I had all this footage and I didn't really know how to do anything with it. And I realized that no one was going to help me. There was all these problems with it all. So I was like, let's see if I can edit something together. It took me a long time.
Yeah.
Eventually I ended up having this like short little video. I posted it. I had this like development deal back in the day. Like you get a development deal and like they try to make a show. Like it's not really like that as much these days. Cause like now you need to have a thing that's already working for somebody to want to like buy it from you is kind of like how it works. But anyway, so nothing worked out and I was like, whatever, I'm just going to put this out. I posted it and then like somebody, like a big comedian shared it and it like did really well. And I was like, oh, cool. Like people love this. Like I loved doing it. Like that's really cool. Like I want to try to do it more. So, then I tried doing another one. Nobody really watched it. I'm like, all right. Then I started getting a little more extreme with it, just like maybe going to places that were like kind of like crazy or whatever. And some of those videos did well. And I was like, if I could get on a schedule, maybe I could figure out how to make this be a thing. So like this year I've been kind of committed to that and just trying to like put things out on a regular schedule to see if I can get some momentum and see if I can make it a thing. And the videos do fine. Like some of them have done well, others less well, like whatever. But I think it's trending in the right direction. So time will tell, but it's going to be a while till I'm like, all right, this isn't working. You know what I mean? It'll probably be at least another year and a half. If like my videos were just bombing every time, then maybe I would consider a pivot. But for now, I'm going to go hard and see how it goes.
Embracing uncertainty. That's what I hear. Like, it's just, becoming best friends with it. Like, knowing that you have all this experience and you've obviously tried different things, like, has your threshold for knowing when to kind of pull back, like, changed? Like, have you become a little bit more numb to this, or did you get more of a sense of like trajectory as you have more experience with it?
I think it's still a challenge for me. Like I have peers who like can pivot really easily. Like I'm more likely to continue doing the wrong thing, thinking that something's going to change and it never does. I think like that comes more easily to me than something more productive. But, I think that at the end of the day, I sometimes step back and look at my career and I'm like, wow, I've like done a lot. And I think that the differentiating thing between me and maybe somebody who's done a little bit less than me is I sort of like have always been trying, even if I'm not trying well, if that makes sense. So, there's different factors. It's like the same with tennis. It's like, you have talent and then you have your ability to sort of be disciplined and committed. And, you kind of balance those two things and see what you can get out of it. So it's like the same kind of thing where it's like, all right, with comedy, it's like, sure, it helps to be talented. I like to think that I have some degree of it, but there's plenty of people I've seen who I don't think are talented at all, who have just kind of like, maybe they're better at something else. Maybe they're really good at like figuring out how to like do everything in a way that helps them, like posting and I do all that shit too, but like maybe they're really good at it and maybe they're more focused and they're able to like, spend more hours doing it than other people. And maybe that helps them get ahead. So it's like, I don't think talent is actually that important for comedy. Like maybe to be like one of the great comedians or something, of course, but to like make a living as a comedian, I think it's like, how stubborn can you be for how long and how long can you hang in there until things start going your way? Because it happens eventually. So like there used to be this famous thing that said that if you last for 7 years in comedy, like you'll probably be able to do it the rest of your life. I semi agree with that. Because, over that time, you just collect so much experience, connections, opportunities, like ability, chops doing it. And like that kind of all adds up to this ability to survive somehow, whether or not it's stuff that you could have predicted or that you can control. So like, for me, yeah, it's like I look back and I'm like, okay, like there's things that I could have done differently, whatever. And will I be able to do the things that I need to do to be successful? Like, I don't know. But I do think that I'm embracing more and more as I get a little bit older that like having a plan and sticking to it, even if it's like not a great plan, I think that it's a space where you actually do get rewarded and you can change the way that people look at things if you are stubborn enough for long enough. Like there's plenty of times
Right.
people are like, he's crazy. What's he doing? And then it's like, everyone's like, oh, look at the way he did it. And all these managers and agents and stuff, they're kind of always playing catch up. They're like, you need to do the thing that guy did. But that guy chose to do it that way at some point.
Right,
I'm not saying
right.
not saying that's going to be me, but you know, I'm sort of unapologetically trying to do what I want to do the way I want to do in a way that I think might give me some sort of long-term sustainability. When in the past I might have been more partial to like wanting at any time to just like get an opportunity from somebody else that would allow me to sort of like keep doing my thing, like being in the mix, like knowing people, hoping for opportunities, and like I'm more committed to like making my own opportunities.
Yeah, it's like having self-belief, right? Like you got to have that self-belief because that's what makes you different. Otherwise, like you say, you're always lagging behind and chasing trends, and you're never gonna have like that edge, that differentiation factor. And yeah, you spoke about like talent and skill and trying, right? And showing up and having discipline. And I always think of it as like you can have the best strategy possible, but if you don't put it into action, like that's like multiplying by zero. It's like,
Yeah, right. Even a bad strategy is better than somebody who doesn't execute at all. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like doing something all the time, there's got to be some value to it, you know, unless you're like physically injuring yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that, yeah, like, you know, whether like, I think that they say, not to turn this into this kind of pod, but like something about like being able to work hard and like having a vision or whatever. Like, I think that there's a fine line between like, what is like actually a good vision and what is you just being delusional. And I think that like theoretically you can go back and forth between those two things until you either can't hack it anymore. And the thing that like typically in comedy, at least, it's like the major differentiator between success and quote failure is just like giving up. You know what I mean? But that's not to say that I think that sometimes giving up is the right choice. You know what I mean? There is a point where it's like, are you sure you want to live like this? Like in anything, but it still is the differentiating factor. So it's like, can you set yourself up to be in a place where like you can keep going? You know what I mean? Like that's important, because if you can't, then you'll burn out. So
For sure. For sure. Well, I look forward to seeing, you know, you hopefully in New York at a show or something, you know, checking you out.
I'll be back in Atlanta at some point too. I usually do the Punchline, so hopefully I'll be back.
Sweet. Yeah, it's an awesome venue. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he does that. That'd be cool, man.
Fuck yeah, for sure.
Cool. So, you know, we've come to the end of the episode. Julia, thank you for sticking through all this, offering your amazing insight and some of the funny remarks on, especially with the rapid fire, quick hand section. So we always want to let our guests kind of have the last, 60 seconds or so. And the only question that I have is like, where can people find you? And do you have any shows coming up that you want to talk to the audience about?
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on Instagram, not Julio is my handle. On TikTok, Snapchat, it's not Julio G. I think I'm not Julio on Twitter too, or X, whatever. And not Julio on YouTube, which I think is definitely. Please follow me on there and watch my shit and like it all and watch the whole video, so that gives me a good algo bump, or at least leave it on in the background. And yeah, notjulio.com for all my tickets and stuff. I have St. Pete coming up 26th, 27th of September. Then the Comedy Store in LA, October 26th. November 7th, I'm in Houston. November 20th in Connecticut. And I think that's probably it for this year. And then I'm hoping to have some stuff lined up for 2025 soon. So, catch me in your city, I guess. And that's it.
Sweet. Thank you, Giulio. Thank you for joining the pod. This is Lou.
I'm G.
Thanks for watching.